Okay, so exercise 8.5. Now we need to see how we can read and save data to what's called a CSV file. CSV simply stands for comma separated values file, and it's a standard, very primitive format to store data in that is quite widely used. So our function needs to take a list. I mean, it's basically you can imagine it's like a table where we have 3 columns. With the first has headline name, the second has headline age, and the last one has headline height. And then below these 3 columns we need to store the first record, which is Alice, 20 years old, 170 high, Bob, 25 years old, 180 high, and so on. So it's like a little Excel sheet, and we want to store that to what's called a CSV file. Let's try to look at what these CSV files look like in order to get an idea about how we should solve this problem. So I go over here, and there are a bunch of good CSV files. So yeah, so let's just do this one. So this CSV file has the way it's stored is that it takes each of these records, like this one, and then it basically put commas between it, convert it all to strings, put commas between it, and then it stores it as a line. So the file that we want to create, now I'm going to start mocking up this nice file here, which is probably not such a great idea. But the file we want to create should look something like this, and that shouldn't actually be spaces. It's a very condensed format, and then the first line should look like this: Alice, 20, and so on. Right? And then the rest of the lines will follow. And then you can ask, okay, so what if the name had a comma in it? We don't think about that. That's not something we like to think about right now. So that's a CSV file. That's what we want to create. So yeah, we basically need to create a function that does that. So we have a little example here. So I'll just take that example, and then we will open the Python file, plug the example into the bottom. Let's insert an empty print command, because now we can sort of get started on implementing this function. So I'll just start the debugger, and we can check that the list looks like this, and then we have a path. So I think I'll create a string called CSV data, which is the string that I eventually want to save. And then what I can do is that I can loop over the rows in my list, and let's just start by printing them out, because now I get like each of the row one at a time. And then what I can do is that I guess I can maybe just join them. I don't know if I can just join them when they have different data types, because I mean the first one is like a string, and then there are also integers, but let's just try and see what happens. So if I do that and print it out, let's see if that comes out correctly. No, it didn't work out. That's because they all have to be strings. So how can I do that? Well, let's make one that's called new row, and then I have a for loop where I loop over the elements in my row, and then I convert each element to a string like that, and then I just append them to new row like this. It's not beautiful code. There are simpler ways of doing it, but I think it gets the trick done. And now I can just plug in new row here. So let's just see how all of this works. So if I insert a breakpoint here, so now the program will stop on this line, and then I restart the debugger. then we can see that row starts out as this, and then new row is the same. That's not very interesting. I'm converting all of these strings one at a time to a string. But if I press continue, it's going to like continue executing the program. That means the loop will loop around. Row will become the next element in the list. That is that it will become this value. And now something interesting will happen. Let's just see what happens now. Now row is this, and new row looks good. And now when I call the join function, it comes out correctly. So I can run all this, and it looks like what I want to put into CSV data. Let's call it like this. So I can just append it to this string using the append function. Oh, actually, maybe I shouldn't use the append function. Actually, let's define CSV data as another list, and then just create a list of all of these rows. I think that's the most elegant way of solving it. Because I want to put line breaks between each element, and I have a way of putting things between elements using this construction here. So now when I call all of this code, I just copy paste it and execute it. Oops. CSV date. I made a spelling mistake. Yeah, spelling mistake. It's even telling me I made a spelling mistake. I just wasn't paying attention. Now when I copy paste this down and run it, CSV data will look like this. And all I need to do now is to add line breaks between each of the elements. So I can do CSV data. Let me see, I can do join CSV data. And let's call that for CSV all. Run it. And now we can see that CSV all looks, well, it looks horrible, but it is correct. CSV. If I print it out, it'll look correct. Okay, I think that's fine. So now all we need to do is we need to store it to the right file. And the file is here in path. So we do with open path, and then we need to remember to do read mode, and then just do the familiar pattern that we have seen many times now. And that should work. So let's stop the debugger and run this file. Oi. That's because I wrote read. I should have used the write. I don't know why I did that. It was, I guess, just me not thinking. So now I write to the right file, and it's called files exercise5.csv. So we can go here to files. Here. Where are you? Nowhere. Maybe refresh. Yeah. Looks similar. Yeah. Okay. So I think that should do it. Let's just try to run test. And the test works. So that is great. Okay, so that's how we can write a CSV file. And now, having done all of that important work, you really shouldn't be doing this. You should use Google and find out how you can do that using a library such as the CSV library, because there is like a way of writing CSV files automatically, and when you do it using a library like this, it will tend to handle all the special cases and all the weird situations you can be in for you, and it's much better. But obviously we want to exercise. We want to give you an exercise where you get to to experiment a little bit with the CSV files here. So that is that's why we asked you to do tasks like this. Okay. And by the way, when I say Google, ChatGPT will also typically give you really good answers for these kind of problems. So if you prefer, just ask ChatGPT. Good.